Hey everyone, when you're building a computer, and especially if it's your first ever PC build, it's easy to get a bit worried about all the things that can go wrong. Especially when you pick up the motherboard and you look at it and you feel how thin the actual PCB board is. It all just feels a bit too brittle, like everything's going to break. But is that actually true? Is it that your motherboard could completely break when you're building your computer? Well, the short answer is no, not really. I mean, motherboards are quite durable. I mean, you can bend them, you can put the RAM in with a decent amount of force, because sometimes it does need that for the actual RAM clips to clip in. So you can do all that absolutely fine. But things you really need to avoid is firstly, let's start with the RAM, is when you're putting the RAM in, make sure you look at where the gap is in the middle of it and you align that with the gap on the motherboard slot. In other words, don't put the RAM in the wrong way round and then try forcing it in, because that could break something, either the RAM slot or the motherboard or the actual RAM chip. So make sure it's aligned properly and then give it a good amount of force so that it clips in. So you feel the two clips on either side actually clip in. The next thing that could go wrong is your CPU. If you actually put it in the wrong direction, it's not going to work either. It's going to break the motherboard or the CPU or both. So try not to do that. And what you tend to find is the CPU will have a little arrow on it, and then the motherboard socket will also have a little arrow on it, and you need to align those two things. In fact, I think it's a triangle, not an arrow. But the point is you need to align those two things with the CPU clip up, put the CPU in, and then put the CPU holding clip back down, and that'll actually secure things in place. But if you don't do that properly, that could actually break things. The next thing that could go wrong is that you accidentally drop something on your motherboard, and obviously a heavy screwdriver is the most common thing, but obviously you could drop even worse things like a CPU cooler on it. I mean, some of them weigh over a kilogram, and that's not exactly ideal. So anytime you've got something over your motherboard, make sure you hold it as tightly as you can and you don't drop it, which I know is easier said than done, but it is worth knowing that. The next thing that could go wrong is if you've got a screwdriver and you're screwing something in, such as an M2 drive. Sometimes you can actually slip and then damage your motherboard. You know, if you actually scrape your motherboard, what you could do is actually slice through a trace, so one of those wires that runs through your motherboard, and that can actually cause issues, of course, so that is something to avoid too. The next thing you would need to check is that you don't have any loose bits of metal, like an errant screw or something like that, anywhere in your build, because otherwise that could actually cause a short circuit when you go to power up your computer, and that would be very bad. That's going to destroy something if you actually have a short circuit. So if you know, with your computer build, if you're moving it around and you can hear something moving around, like a screw you've lost, which happens to all of us, then get that screw out before you turn your computer on. And they, in my opinion, are the most common things that can go wrong with breaking your motherboard during a build. There might be other ones though, so please do leave a comment if you can think of any. And if you found this video useful, please click the thumbs up button and please subscribe to see more short videos like this. Thanks for watching.